Stop trying to replace all your friends and just calm down. Maybe touch some grass. One of the biggest mistakes that I made when my social life really started to change was waiting for the people that were already in my life to give me the actual community that I felt that I was missing. Like, I was really waiting around for the people that I loved and were in my life at that time to give me the full experience of community that I actually wanted instead of going out and building it. And the worst part about it is I didn't even realize I was doing that. Because yes, I had people in my life that cared about me. Yes, I had some homegirls. Yes, I had family. Yes, I was loved. I wasn't completely alone. But I found I still wasn't really getting the kind of connection that I really needed at the time. And I think I finally figured out why. Having friendship and connection is one thing, and having community is another. And I feel like that's something we don't really think about or talk about. And for me, it all really comes down to three things. One, you have to know what you actually need from friendship, what you need from community. Okay. Two, one or two friends not being able to provide every single thing you need doesn't mean that they're a bad friend. And three, sometimes building community just means you have to stop waiting on an invitation and actually start going where life is happening. So I have a story and I'm ready to tell it. Nah, but we're gonna start here though. We're gonna start here. So a couple of years ago, I had a big friend group and I also essentially had a large network and community of people that I would hang out with, spend time with, do group activities with, go out to the club with, have game nights with, like several nights a week. Okay, it was a regular thing, routine. I was with the same people in the same places doing the same thing, very long term. And it became a part of my social identity, right? So when that group finally dissolved, as lots of friend groups do, sometimes you outgrow, certain dynamics and certain spaces and certain groups and things like that, right? And I also moved. I moved into my own home in a new area, in a new city, basically started a new life. And in turn, my social world became a lot more compressed. Okay, my social world was like this. All right. Mainly because I was spending a lot of time, solo, trying to metabolize, all of the changes in my life and trying to work on my projects, work on things that I wanted to do. And also because I really just had a couple of, people that I like really talked to often. Only a couple people that I actually spent in real life time with, hanging out with. And what ended up happening is I had one of those close friends actually moved nearby to my area. And I was so excited about this, because this was a person that was from the same larger group that I once left, so we had a shared history, shared hobby, things like that. So to be in close proximity to a person that was connected to my old social life and old routines, I was getting excited thinking, I could bridge some of that old life to my new life. But things didn't really work out that way. And it's totally, not her fault specifically. It's not my fault. It's not nobody's fault. People have their own things going on. People be working and going through stuff or whatever the case may be, right? People's lives change. And just because we couldn't do what we used to do, as often and on routine, doesn't make it bad or wrong, right? But it did make me feel like I was grieving a social structure. And I was unconsciously placing responsibility on like one or two friends that I had for replacing it or recreating that for me. Because my old community collapsed, I subconsciously was trying to solve a community sized problem with only just a couple of people who had their own lives and own things going on, And to zoom out, okay, speaking of the one or two homegirls I had that had their own stuff going on, their own life, right? I understood intellectually, and I always talk about this in my content, okay? On TikTok, on here, I'm always saying that no one person can be everything for you. No one or two friends can be every single thing you need in a person and provide all of your needs. And you really just gotta accept, people for who and what they are, and not hold any resentment for the things that they can't provide in your life, right? I understood that intellectually. And I kept telling myself that we all have our own things going on. I can't be mad at my homegirl because she got married and spend her time with her husband now. Or I can't be mad at this homegirl because she work all the time. I can't take that personally. All I can do is appreciate and cherish the time I spend with them. And all of that is true. All of that is absolutely true. I also realized I had turned, accepting people for what they are into something that it was never really supposed to mean. Because yes, you can accept a friendship for exactly what it is. Okay, and love that friendship for exactly what it is. Because someone can be a great friend, they can love you, value you, and support you, and not always be particularly compatible with one of your major social needs. So instead of having the mindset of, oh my God, this friend isn't doing what I want, I need to replace them, I can't be friends with them anymore, there's another option, okay? And that option is you're gonna have to expand. And maybe you don't need your friend to be different. Maybe you don't need a different friend. Maybe you need more friendships and more ways to connect in different ways with other people for different reasons. So speaking about, getting what you need socially, right? When I think about what I need socially, and honestly, I never really sat and thought about this at length until very recently, right? I started thinking about what kinds of friendships are most ideal for my temperament and how I like to connect. Doesn't mean I can't have other kinds of friendships, but like, what is the kind of, dynamic where I absolutely thrive? And here's my framework. I need dynamics that are low friction, low performance, and high collaboration. And I'm gonna explain what I mean by this. One, low friction. I like to be able to get together with a person without every interaction needing like 4 to 6 weeks of like extensive planning and arranging. Without whatever we're doing requiring perfect conditions to be enjoyable. Like if I can call you up and we can just go to Walmart together and just hang out. Or if we're both bored one night, you just come over and we just watch movies or something like that. Low performance. We don't have to constantly entertain each other. And we don't have to manufacture closeness. We don't have to overly curate ourselves, and we don't have to like maintain this like perfect kind of social energy, right? We could just be ourselves and it's cool. And high collaboration. This is when we're both participating in creating the experience. We are both trying to enjoy our time together as a collaborative effort, rather than one person constantly accommodating or carrying the other. I really love stuff like random drives at night or going to run errands, planning to do something and then like randomly changing the plans halfway throughout the night. I like to just chill and do nothing sometimes and just have company and companionship. And I also like to go somewhere spontaneous. That type of dynamic is something that I really, really thrive in and I really enjoy. And that dynamic is not a dynamic I have with every single one of my friends, which is fine, which doesn't make it bad. It just means I'm going to need to find friendships that offer me that thing. And as you build more connections and more community, you should be thinking about what are my values and friendships? What do I need socially that I feel like I've always been missing? You should keep those things in mind as you go out and meet new people, or just go out, because you don't even have to go out with the intention of meeting new people. You just have to go where things are happening. And for me, I started to do that more, right? I knew I needed to just go where life is happening instead of waiting on the invite or waiting on someone to go with me or waiting on someone to arrange to go with me. And ironically, like I said, my old social group was pretty large because we were all skaters. We used to skate at the skating rink, like multiple nights a week. That was our thing. That was one of our top things, right? And so as I started thinking about, okay, I need to create a new normal socially in my life now, ironically, I actually went back to the rink, just not in the same way that I was in the rink before. I've prioritized going where my interests are, right? And I'm interested in learning how to DJ right now. And I happen to know skating rink DJs. So I've been going to the rink. I've just been learning how to DJ at those rinks. And no, I'm not going as like skater Dom anymore. I'm going as a Dom that's learning how to DJ. And that's still meaningful. And I'm meeting new people there. And I'm making different kinds of connections. I am becoming a regular again, just differently. At first I thought going back to the rink, especially not being able to like skate like I used to, or like have a friend to always skate with like I used to, I thought going back would remind me of the social group that I lost. But instead I'm realizing I'm building something completely different there. And I can do the same thing there that I can do somewhere else, right? I can join a book club, I can join a Pilates class, I can join a dance class and meet people there as well. Because community often is formed around repeated participation. So instead of finding friends or dragging your friends that you have to go do things with you that you're interested in, you go do things and you repeatedly encounter people and you become familiar with those people. Then you make connections and then you have community. And the different groups and activities that you may be a part of are all going to satisfy a different social need for you as well. That way you aren't putting all of your pressures and expectations and your emotions onto a couple people that you love, because they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. And also now that I'm taking my building of new community into my own hands, right? And I'm opening myself up to more possibilities and more ways of enjoying myself. I'm also not trying to overperform connection. Everybody that you're in community with, well, they're not gonna be your best friend and they're not gonna be with you through everything, through thick and thin either, that's not realistic either. And when I was younger, I really used to overperform connection just because I wanted it so bad. And I would be really excited about meeting new people, making new friends, and I would hype everybody up, and I would always try to be the life of the party, and I would always try to stay perfectly in touch. I would always try to make everybody comfortable, accommodate everybody, make sure all of the conversations are moving the way they should move. And eventually, that became kind of my assigned role. And it became draining. And it also became an expectation that people had of me. So if I'm too quiet, it's, oh, what's wrong? Like if I don't reach out as much, it's like, oh, you're mad. Or I'm overthinking if somebody has reached out to me less, or I think they're mad. And I'm going through all these different mental gymnastics, just trying to manage every connection and manage the temperature of every friendship or acquaintance. And I don't want to be responsible for managing the temperature of every single room I'm in anymore. Because I can be fun and have fun without performing that fun. And I can love and care for people without constantly texting them and talking to them, and nor them doing that for me. And I can participate when I genuinely want to participate, and also be okay when other people are not down to always participate in the thing that I want to participate in. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly comfortable and aligned all the time in every scenario. But the more experiences that I have my hands in, the more I diversify my experiences and my capacity, the more authentic and meaningful the connections I create are going to be. And speaking of managing temperature in connections and in community, I also briefly talked about this in my last video, where I was talking about how social media and the digital age and the focus of everybody connecting digitally is kind of making us a little weird. I've accepted and realized I want my relationships to happen in real life and not just on the phone. Because I think, that's another way of managing closeness in a way that I don't want to subscribe to anymore. Sure, my phone and my socials can facilitate a relationship, but I don't want my relationships to live inside of my phone or on my socials. Just shoot me the address, tell me what time you're coming over, text me the name of the event, and I'm gonna see your ass there. That's how I feel. Accumulating, shared experiences in real life over constant digital maintenance has it's healed something within me. Seriously. And I don't know, it may not work for everybody, okay? I'm not telling everybody that they need to feel like this, but it's just something that's really helped me become more grounded in participating in real life. So back to the main point, we're circling back. Yes, I really did start to believe I was missing my old social life, and there's grief involved in that. But I'm learning I don't think I actually had to recreate exactly what I had before in order to have satisfaction. And I didn't need to pressure, the couple people in my life to make that happen, to bring that to life for me. I needed to build new community for the version of myself that I am now. Sometimes the answer isn't cutting off your homegirl because you feel lonelier than usual right now. Sometimes you gotta accept what the people you love can give you and then go get the thing that you still feel like you're missing. Give yourself permission to go find that shit. That's okay too. And when you find it, you don't have to overperform and you don't have to overmanage. Everybody can touch grass together. So tell me, have you ever had moments where you found yourself feeling lonely even though you had friends? And why did you feel that way? Let me know in the comments. As always, stay gorgeous and I will see you in the next one.